Welcome back to Umineko, Episode 1, Part 8 we are at now, as we continue to move along in the story that gives you 10 questions every time it gives you one answer. And that's being generous. So, what do we expect to be answered soon? We got the Demon's Roulette. What is that? It's happening. What is it? I don't know. Sacrifices or something. Beatrice, what is she collecting as interest for the contract? Is it people? Is it just money? Is it the whole family? Why does Rudolph believe he's going to be killed tonight? I don't know. Maria's a messenger. Contract is over. Stuff is happening. Is there 18 people or 19 people? Is one person in the mansion pretending to be Beatrice to stir up trouble, or is Beatrice pretending to be one of the people in the mansion, assuming there's 18? I don't know. I don't know any of these things. I have predictions. I have guesses. I think one of the 18 people is definitely Beatrice. I think that'd be a really fun little thing to find out and to look at. Like, you know, you look back, you read through, and you say, "Oh, I see it now." That kind of thing. Seems like something I could see happening. Rudolph. I don't know what's going through Rudolph's head. He knows more than he's letting on. He's talking to Kitty right now. We don't know what they're saying. Instead, we're going to figure out what's going on with Natsuhi. The poor girl and her headaches are first on our stop this episode. So let's see what's happening. How's it going, Natsuhi? She could be found in a dimly lit hallway. Now and then the thunder would crash, but this had no effect on Natsuhi's expression. Well, at least it's not making the headache worse. She looked completely worn out. The discussion that had just taken place between the relatives in the dining hall was repeating itself inside Natsuhi's mind. Are we going to get a little snippet of that? Ah, black and white. Beatrice had proclaimed that in addition to the gold, all of the inheritance and property of the Ushiromiya family would be given to the person who could solve the riddle. In other words, she planned to undermine the absolute guarantee that Kraus, as the older brother, had to succeed the family head. It's anyone's ballgame now. Originally, the other siblings had absolutely no chance to inherit the headship. To them, this proposal by Beatrice was extremely desirable, and I'm sure to Natsuhi and Kraus, awful. It was obvious that they would accept it. There was no need to play some clumsy detective game. Natsuhi knew that this so-called 19th person, Beatrice, couldn't exist. Naturally, Beatrice was nothing more than a fictional character used to pass a message that Kinzo had written himself. As proof, Kinzo had remained stubbornly neutral as to that letter's authenticity. I mean, I was saying last episode, in character, you know, to the limited information of this is not a story, like if this were the real world, yeah, Kinzo would be the biggest suspect for this. That he wrote the letter pretending to be Beatrice. But I think from a story standpoint, from what we've seen from Kinzo and what we know, it's highly unlikely that Kinzo wrote this letter. In fact, he chuckled when he heard about it. You know, like, oh, it's time already. Like, he didn't... It's not from Kinzo. Kinzo got rid of the ring, as we saw. He no longer is in possession of the ring that would need to be used to make the seal, the wax that was on the envelope. He was completely ignoring these reckless claims that he shouldn't be able to ignore, that he had given up on the head's ring. In short, Kinzo had wordlessly admitted that the letter held his own message. I mean, it might be something he wants to relay to people, but he did not make the letter. Most likely one of the servants had given Maria the letter. Kinzo had probably worked out an elaborate plan where the dress from the portrait would be prepared, and someone, probably Shannon, would be made to wear it and deliver the letter and umbrella. By doing that, he could make it seem like the witch from the portrait actually existed. No, if anything, that alone was proof that Kinzo was behind all this. In that case, it was the same as Kinzo trying to butt in on the siblings' private discussion. I mean, your quote-unquote private discussion is about how you're going to split up his money when he dies. That's not... It's not so much of an intrusion of privacy as you'd like to make us think, or you'd like to believe. Then Kinzo, by announcing that he'd given everything to the person who'd solved the riddle, could weaken Krause's overwhelming advantage. So you see this as Kinzo's personal attack on Krause and you. Now it was certain. Kinzo had eavesdropped on the siblings' discussion in the parlor earlier that day. So he had known how Krause had staved off the attack by the other three, and to make the scales of the battle go back into balance, he had sent out this strange letter, which benefited Krause's rivals. He was trying to push this crazy theory so that Rosa, who had a weak position among the siblings because of her age, would join with Eva and Rudolph. Then, with a 3-to-1 advantage, they'd be able to overwhelm Krause yet again and make their ridiculous theories get accepted by force. And by doing that, he gave them the power to resettle what had once been a nearly decided conflict. They had now started repeatedly pressing Krause to pay them a large amount of money, using the condition that all the siblings would guarantee Krause's position as the successor. Talk about advance payments was being brought up again, despite having been rejected once. Of course, even without the story about the hidden gold, the Ushiromiya family's store of wealth was vast. That store of wealth alone was more than enough. Even if the hidden gold was buried forever, along with Kinzo's death, there would be more than enough to satisfy. Therefore, even if they weren't interested in the gold itself, Kinzo had managed to instill the lifelong fear that, on the off chance that someone had found the gold, that person would be granted the headship. And this kind of Achilles heel would definitely be taken advantage of by someone sooner rather than later. I get where your head's at, but I don't think that's the truth behind the letter whatsoever. The only person with this fatal weakness was the successor, Krause. The other siblings had found. No, they had been told by Kinzo about something that only Krause could lose, and they had thoroughly taken advantage of it. Natsuhi, as Krause's only ally in his painful position and as his wife, wanted to fight alongside him. Wait, I thought this was Natsuhi's explanation. Who is talking right now? Who is giving us the I'm confused. Who's doing the exposition right now? I swear, if it turns out that Kumasawa is explaining stuff to us once again, I'm gonna flip out. This would be like the 4th time she's gone into exposition mode. No, I don't know if it's her, but it could be. She kept trying to explain to him that the existence of the gold itself was a farce, and that there was no need for him to compromise. Krause had always told Natsuhi. He had told all of the siblings. He always said that the hidden gold was nothing more than an illusion created by Kinzo. Therefore, Natsuhi had believed it as his wife, and had supported her husband on that foundation. Even so, Natsuhi's words didn't reach Krause. Even though Natsuhi had fought so hard and had lent all of her strength, he continued to fight by himself and was trying to compromise with the other 3 siblings. Natsuhi sadly and weakly wondered why she could not be of use to him, then started getting angry. This game makes me feel bad for Natsuhi all the time. Like, all the time. Like, I feel like she is the most, like, bullied out of everyone, like, in the most tragic position out of everyone. Out of all the siblings and spouses. Just, like, on a low level, like, not being appreciated, so devoted, so hardworking, but in one of the worst positions. And, you know, clearly Kiri and Hideyoshi are looked at with a bit more respect in a better manner than Natsuhi is. At least it seems to me. So I would get why she's getting angry. And then you got the constant headaches and everything, and she seems kind of, I don't know, she just seems like a nice person who's struggling to deal with all this bullshit. It had happened when everyone decided to take a short break to cool their heads. Natsuhi had flared up against Kraus. Enraged, she had asked why she could not be useful to him. He had then told her that he wanted to talk about something, and invited her into a room that she was normally not allowed to enter. What? He's not going to say the same thing Kraus did, is he? I mean, the same thing Rudolph did, is he? He's not going to be like, I'm probably going to die tonight. That'd be crazy. That room had been sealed with a heavy-looking padlock, and just looking at it had given her an uncomfortable feeling. What is this? Locked room.
他の3人の言うことも、ベアトリーチェを名乗る不審人物の言うことも、何も気にかけることはありません。黄金など所詮はお父様が生み出したまやかし。それを見つけられることなどあるわけがない。
And she's trying so, like, that's what Kraus said and kept reiterating, and so she's just trying to support him by, you know, believing him and showing her faith in him and being devoted to her husband in that way. I don't know, I feel really bad for her.
あなたが跡継ぎであることは盤石です。何を恐れることがあるのです。
She tries hard and just gets the least amount of respect out of everyone. Kraus removed the padlock on the door. A room she's not allowed to go in that's padlocked shut, huh? He then motioned for Natsuhi to enter.
入りたまえ。
何ですか？
見せたいものがある。君に初めて見せるものだ。
Natsuhi timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face. It was pitch black. She searched for a switch to turn on the lights, but since this was her first time in the room, she didn't know where it was. This is weird. What is going on? Kraus entered behind her, pushing her in, and when he closed the door before turning on the lights, the two were swallowed up by the darkness. Oh, before turning on the lights, yeah. Only the sound of Kraus locking the door rang out through the dark. What kind of secret is in here? I was a little worried at first. He was going to, like, lock her in here for some reason. Like, he was like, you go in. You know, it just took off the lock. It was a little strange, but it seems he came in after all. Okay. This is weird. I swear, if he turns on the lights and the fucking gold is in this room, I'm going to flip the fuck out. Just as he said, when Kraus pushed a switch on the wall, a flickering light turned on and lit up the room. Don't show me a pile of gold or I'm going to flip my shit. Natsuhi had her breath taken away. The room had no windows, and at a glance, it appeared to be empty. In the middle of the room... Oh, okay. It appeared to be empty. Okay. Not a giant, massive pile of gold. And I was like, oh my god, if he's been like hiding it right there all along, that would have been weird. In the middle of the room, a small round table had been set, and the lights brightened only that table, as if it were a leading part in a play. On top of the table, a red tablecloth of elaborate design had been set out, covered with dust. No one comes in here often. And on top of that, something about the size of a grown man's arm had been set down. That something took Natsuhi's breath away. What? Oh! Why would he lie to Natsuhi about this? If he's truly believed... Sorry, I was listening to this new song. If he truly believed that or knew that the gold existed all this time. I would get why, in like a selfish, greedy sense, he would lie to his siblings about it. Did he not trust Natsuhi to keep the secret? Why else would he not tell her? She was so adamant about, like, believing him and picking up on what he said, and, you know, we were just going over how she had latched on to the fact that he didn't believe that there was any gold and took that to heart, and now apparently Kraus has known about it for who knows how long. He has one ingot. Where did that come from? It's proof that the gold exists. What confuses me more, because I believed in the gold. So that's not like a huge crazy thing that the gold actually exists. Like, it was to be expected for me. I'm trying to think of, like, understand Krause's motivations here. And I might just about to be told this, so I'm just trying to, you know, try and think it out before I'm told. Okay. It was an ingot of solid gold. Even in the faint light, it sparkled with a noble and dignified glint. Okay. It took a high level of skill to make the purest of solid gold ingots. And in order to verify that purity, it was standard to have the original foundry and the name of the bank that it guaranteed it imprinted on the gold. However, this ingot did not have that kind of seal. This mysterious gold bar had come from an unknown foundry and has the family crest on it. She's going to be angry. She's going to be confused. She's going to be hurt. Why did you lie to her all this time? And why are you showing her just now? Natsuhi, following Krause's words, timidly approached the ingot. Krause pointed at the surface of the ingot. Natsuhi concentrated on that section. Right there was a thin imprint of the one-winged eagle crest. Natsuhi's breath was taken away once again. Oh, they did say that the president was allowed to take one. That's right. So this is the one he took. That's why it's here and not with the rest. And that's why having this one doesn't mean that someone has found the gold. Right. He went and got it back. I'm waiting for her to get mad about this. And I'd like to hear Krause's explanation. For keeping it from her. Did he just call her a witch or just Beatrice? No, just Beatrice, okay. Natsuhi was shocked. Krause had always said that Kinzo's gold was just a fabrication. So she had believed it as his wife. Man. However, the reality was different. Since he held definite proof, he had been more certain than any of the other siblings that the legend of the gold was true. Because of this, Krause was deeply frightened at the possibility that someone other than himself would find the gold he'd failed to find, costing him everything. But to Natsuhi, this truth was more than enough to split open her heart. Oh my god. She doesn't give a shit about the gold. It's the breaking of trust. I feel so bad for her. She had thought that as Krause's wife, she should be his closest confidant. which is why she had selflessly supported him. And yet he had hid this fact from her until today. Why?
そこまでに私はあなたの信頼に足りないというのですか。
そういうつもりはない。
Fuck you, Kraus.
話す必要がなかっただけ。
Oh, fuck you, Kraus. Fuck off.
あなたにとっては
I didn't tell you because, well, I didn't need to.
その程度のものなのですか。
落ち着きたまえ。
If you say some shit like, well, yeah, you're just there to give me airs.
劇場にすぐ駆られるのは君の悪い癖。
Stop.
あなたがそうさせてるんじゃないですか。私は後宮家に嫁ぎ、今日まであなたの妻として仕えてきました。あなたのために生まれた家を捨て、身も心も捧げてお仕えしてきました。その報いがこれなんですか。そんなことって。
Kraus grimaced, looking annoyed. Really annoyed? His expression effectively communicated how much he disliked this part of Natsuhi, even if he didn't say it out loud.
私はもうあなたの力になれそうもありません。
それ。
Oh my god. Kraus is the fucking worst. Fuck you.
兄弟のトラブルを私が自分の力で解決する。
Fuck you.
君の力は借りんよ。
違います。
Just have the urge to name this episode Fuck Kraus.
これは後宮家のトラブルです。確かに私にはこの身に家紋を刻むことが許されていません。でもあなたの妻です。なのに私には力添えする資格もないのですか。
God damn it.
あなた。
君を思えばこそあえて関わらせなかったのだ。
I started this episode talking about how bad I felt for Natsuhi, and then this episode just spat in my face.
これ以上は頭痛に触るだろう。
Yeah, as if you care.
君は今夜はこれで休みたまえ。兄弟の話は兄弟でつける。君は関係ない。それだけだ。
Why, if she's so unimportant to him, like, she can't help him, why did he even decide to tell her right now? Why even bother? Just so she'd stop yelling about how it doesn't exist? Or even just so she'd have a reaction like this and back off and go away because he doesn't want her around. He knew she'd be upset by it. A dull headache tormented Natsuhi. No matter what medicine she took, no matter what scents she burned, it wouldn't heal. In fact, simply wandering alone through the dark corridors and listening to the sound of the rain seemed to be a better cure. Man. I may be Natsuhi, but I was never Ushiromiya Natsuhi. I have been despised and treated as a borrowed womb, and insulted when I couldn't even fill that role. Even so, I have tried to properly perform my duties as a wife. But now even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my daughter as if it was the last job left to me. However, I've had no release for my anger and sadness, and they've caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she dislikes me thoroughly. She despises me for having no interest in anything but grades. There is no longer anything I can do for the Ushiromiya family. No, that's no good. Despite it all, I must help my husband and beat back the schemes of the other greedy sibling. Natsuhi, you are too good for this fucking world. Oh my god. That's really what you're saying now after all this? That is devotion. Jeez. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually, Kraus will succeed the head, and the next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters the family by marrying Jessica will become the next head, but it all comes to the same thing. I have to make Jessica an excellent successor, whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Ushiromiya family. In the days to come, that greedy Ushiromiya Eva will probably be plotting to find some fault with the main family. And if all goes as she planned, Jessica will be dragged down from the succession with George set up in her place. So Natsuhi's gonna keep trying for Jessica's sake, for her daughter. It is regrettable, but George is a man, and even more, has matured as a person. Compared to Jessica, who was right in the middle of a rebellious period, and whose grades are slightly below average, it can be seen at a glance who is more fit to succeed the head. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. After doing that, I want to find her an excellent husband worthy of the excellent person she will have to become. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her through all of life's joys and sorrows. So, the way she keeps saying excellent and wonderful, she's definitely looking for someone who's not quite like Kraus, that's for sure. Was Natsuhi trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire of her own? I mean, that's pretty common, you know. If someone's unable to fulfill things in life, they can often put those burdens on others for like a proxy de facto way of, you know, if this person manages to do it, then I've done it. Then it'll be like I've succeeded if I help this person succeed what I couldn't. Natsuhi thought back to the days when she had no choice but to marry into the Ushiromiya family because of that unavoidable fate. She had tried to block that from her memory. She had consciously forgotten about it, and had actively attended to the life she had been given as Ushiromiya Natsuhi. And in doing so, she had built up a new life. But just now, it felt like all of that had been casually rejected. Natsuhi helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. The glass, which was cool thanks to the raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing. Even though it should have been emotionless, right then it seemed to be the only thing that could understand Natsuhi. At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsuhi didn't intend to pay any attention to them. But she did pay attention, because it was her beloved daughter. Ugh. I feel awful for Natsuhi. Oh my god. She was already one of my favorites, but now... I said she was one of the most tragic of the, you know, siblings and spouses before that scene. And then they threw that at me. That was rough. That was second toughest to handle the scene so far after the Maria Ava scene. Oof. Just because I feel for her so bad, I don't know. Empathizing with her. Alright, Jessica. Oh.
なんだよ こんなところに。幽霊かと思ったぜ。
Just like always, her words were rough and not at all like a girl's. Instinctively, words of rebuke rose to Natsuhi's throat. However, their strength gave out, and they didn't escape her lips.
ジェシカ、ごめんね。母さんは頭痛がひどいの。そっとしといてくれる？
そう。
Jessica was seeing her mother in a position of feebleness for the first time, so she was considerably disconcerted. Until now, she'd been filled with contempt for all the parents, including her mother. But now those feelings had been completely swept away. Her mother's utterly exhausted face had wiped them all out. In its place, the words George had told her floated back up in her mind. Don't hate her. Our parents are doing their best in their own way, and because of their families are counting on them, they can't afford to keep everything pleasant and have a heavy responsibility to fight. Right. Maybe her mother had been standing around in this dimly lit hallway because no one had tried to understand that in her. Jessica hated her mother, so she had no intention of speaking kindly to Natsuhi just because she was looking a bit frail. Well, that's a shame. So when she attempted to speak kindly to her mother, she had to clench her fists and gather up the words from deep in her heart.
ずいぶん立て込んだ話をしてるようじゃん。
Get past your rebellious phase, Jessica. Come on. Your mother needs you right now. Well, that's how it goes, I guess.
お前には関係ありません。よそへ行っていなさい。
頭痛ひどい？あ、私薬もらってこようか。
Natsuhi gonna snap at her.
構わないで結構です。
Okay.
お願いだから一人きりにして。
This is the third time she told her to go away. Natsuhi wasn't being cold. She just wanted her daughter to go far away so that she wouldn't have to bump against Natsuhi's own short temper. Right. But there's no chance that Jessica would realize this. Yeah. Jessica hung her head, looking sad. Seeing that expression, Natsuhi recognized the kindness that Jessica was trying to muster. She gave her head a small shake to drive away her own unkind feelings.
じゃあ私行くよ。大人の邪魔にならないようにいとこたちと一緒にいるから。じゃあ。
お待ちなさい。
Oh? Oh? She called Jessica, who was trying to leave and looked lonely, to stop.
何？
気遣いをありがと
Oh.
う。お前を残して寝込むわけにはいきません。
よせよ。演技でもないぜ。
心配をかけました。もう大丈夫です。私は行きます。
If I let my daughter see me this feeble any longer, I'll only make her feel more uneasy. With that thought in mind, Natsuhi left Jessica with words of gratitude and made to depart. This time, Jessica called out to her mother's back. Natsuhi stopped and turned around, asking what business Jessica had with her. But Jessica herself didn't know why she'd stopped her mother. And for a while she smiled wryly, muttering to herself as she hesitated over what to say. She was poking around in her pocket when her hand touched something, and she took it out.
あのさ、母さん。私さ、今日
Oh.
お守りもらったんだよ。なんだっけな。
From Maria.
魔除けだったっけ？
Yeah.
確かその ドアノブにぶら下げてるといいんだっけ。
I, I still think it'd be really funny if these charms actually worked and came in handy later in the game. Like, they were actually effective and Maria was right. So now we're passing them
忘れ
around.
ちまったぜ。
Some people are gonna have them. I don't know. It'd be funny. I doubt it is. But
私が持ってても仕方ないし、母さんにあげるよ。
it was the scorpion charm that Maria had given her on the beach. Although she'd heard of its various effects from Maria, Jessica's mind had gone blank, and she was just barely able to say even that much. Jessica, thinking that her mother probably wouldn't accept it anyway, immediately drew back the hand she had stuck out, grasping the charm. So when Natsuhi came back to take it, she was extremely shocked.
これは何かの景品？
Probably.
まあその。
She was like, I don't know, yeah,
多分
probably.
そうだろうと、こんなおもちゃみたいなお守りじゃご利益は期待できねえよな。
But her mother took the charm from where she grasped it in her hand.
ありがとう。
Oh,
大切にします。ジェシカには今度、私が子供の頃大切にしていたお守りを
that's
代わり
nice.
にあげましょう。
I want to hear about that.
別にそんなつもりで渡すんじゃないぜ。でもまあどうしてもっていうなら。
では、私はもう休みます。頭痛がひどいので、ジェシカもあまり夜更かしをしすぎないように。
I live a life with chronic back pain, and it's a day in, day out thing. So I do understand chronic pain that just kind of is always there. But I can't imagine constant headaches, like migraines that just kill your head all day long. Because I imagine that fucks with your concentration a lot more than like back pain would. I can't even imagine. Even with what little experience I do have with chronic pain, I fucking hate headaches, and I don't really get migraine, like extremely bad headaches, and I still can't stand them. So I don't even know what I would do if I had just relentless headaches all day, every day. Sounds so awful. Natsuhi put the charm in her pocket and turned away. She then disappeared into the dark hall. Is this gonna be a new scene?
やっぱり
Ooh,
明日も丸
kinda
一日
early.
こんな天気
38
みたいだ
minutes.
ね。
Do I end it here and switch to another episode? Yeah, I guess I'll just stop it and switch and start recording another one. All right. That episode got me kind of emotional, not gonna lie. I don't know. I've attached myself to Natsuhi, and I feel for her a lot. I feel connected to her as a character, and I feel bad when she's not treated right. It just like, I don't know. Her suffering is the opposite of pleasant. It's not too fun to see her like that. So it's tough to see her treated like that. But I'm really glad she had at least a little bit of a moment with Jessica at the end. I'm glad she could smile a bit. Seeing Natsuhi smile is a rarity, that's for sure. So that was a sweet scene. Immediately after a fucking awful scene. Fuck Kraus, by the way. Fuck Kraus. Grade A asshole. The biggest douche in the game so far. So, yeah. That's that. All right. I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.